just finished talking about, this is only like 5 seconds later, and in a second I want to do a little break. But the last things I was talking about were like kill your darlings, and two of the same character doesn't work well almost ever. You don't have to give off the playing off of each other dynamic. In that case, like, you just change your opinion from these two humor characters, I want them to play off of each other, to I'll have one humor character and he'll play off of somebody else. That's how you know, cut without like feeling too bad about it. Anyway, so I'm gonna take a little verbal break, take a drink, crack the old knucks. Again, I still don't know if this is gonna be uploaded or this is just something I do to like work through shit. And I think, like, for the last 50 minutes of the video was me like going off on tangents when I was supposed to be explaining what happened with the mini fridge. So if you're waiting for that, go ahead and get your chuckles in. Just get them, because you're totally right that I'm incredibly easily distractible. That is ADHD. And I'll do you one more. So, in order to like try and expedite this process, because I knew I just wanted to not do a great job, I wanted to do a quick job. I just wanted to get the mini fridge into like the place, and everything else I was okay with waiting on. So I chopped my goal down. I got rid of, wanting to put the laundry away and, open up the stuff that I bought and put all that stuff away and all that gold. Anyway, it kind of helps me to like verbalize what I'm going to do. Like, if you think about having, like, if you have a thought, it's like a certain level of like real or permanence, and then speaking thought is the next level of permanence, and then writing a thought is another level of permanence, right? So it's like one thing to think about something crazy that you're about to do, and then there's another level that you get to when you're able to say, I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence. Anyway, that's sort of how I can force myself to focus on something for a little bit. Because like a written plan would be best, but if you're trying to get yourself to focus on some job that you already know how to do, like, walk into the bathroom and take a shower. But I just have problems with, getting distracted. And I don't want to mislead you into thinking that I'm just an utter basket case a lot. Because a lot of this has to do with me doing multiple types of new things at once. So, we'll just say for the past few days, even though that's super inaccurate, for the past few days, I've been realizing how my behavior needs to change in order to, work with my ADHD. So I'm thinking things like, oh, okay, I used to think that routine and discipline were bad. Now I know that I like routine and discipline, and those work really good for me. Like doing the same thing every day works really good for me. It makes those things kind of like come automatically, which sort of heads off chances that you could just become distracted. And you kind of have to do that because I don't know. I don't want to say you will always get distracted, but you know, that's how you do stuff. You know, create like rules and like discipline and activities for yourself. So I am like rewriting my schedule, and I'm saying things like, okay, previously I would take a shower. My rule is that I would shower every day, um, and I was pretty consistent about that, and that was good. But now I need better because ADHD people don't work good with estimations. Like, they need routine, um, and not routine all the time. You have to put spontaneous activity into the schedule. If you think that you want, you know, your day fully planned out all the time, you don't. You want it, a lot of it, fully planned out. But if you don't leave room for spontaneous activity, it'll start to feel like you don't have control in your life. And you don't have control over your life because the version of you 6 months ago that wrote your routine has the control. But it's not the current you, so it will feel like you don't have control over your life. That's why you need to put spontaneity into your day. So my spontaneity is the same chunk of time as my relaxation time. Like when I sit down and play WoW, that part is all structured. I'm supposed to, after a period of work, or a long period of work, I need to stop putting other activities, no matter how fun I think they might be, or how useful, or how it'll only take 1 minute, or whatever. When I'm done with a long period of work, like an 8-hour shift, I gotta stop effing around, drive home, and get on World of Warcraft. And yes, I know it makes it seem like I'm an addict, so just work with me here, okay? It doesn't have to be World of Warcraft, it can be anything. But I need time where I'm just able to completely check out mentally, because I've just spent, 10 hours working. And I say 10 hours because it's an 8-hour shift, but in an 8-hour shift you have to take a 30-minute break by law. So if you go in at 10 a.m., it's not a 10 to 6, it's a 10 to 6:30. Right? And when you add in things like getting ready for work, like getting dressed and driving there, it ends up being around 10 hours, so that's why we're using that. So, in my mind, I just kicked ass for 10 hours, and I used... Oh, holy shit. How is this such a long-ass video? Good God. And not gonna lie, I think I'm really good at doing those hours of kicking ass. I'm really good at kicking ass during that time. I'm gonna say some things that might aren't gonna like, but I'm super good at my job. I like my job. I'm not gonna say it's easy or simple, and like there are things that are easy about it, there are things that are complicated about it. Anyway, but I try really hard to do the best job that I can, and I'm able to do that because stop, you son of a bitch. So, don't I have a potion? I could have swore I fixed this. I'm supposed to do this. Okay. One thing that really pisses me off is, or like sort of breaks my heart and makes me exhausted, is when somebody tries to tack on like an extra 2 hours of commitment at the end of the commitment. And my current boss doesn't do this. Again, FYI, I've had bosses that do this. And I just don't understand how they think I will say yes. Like, I'll be at work for 8 hours, and I'm supposed to be off at 5. And at 4:55 p.m., they'll come up to me and say, can you stay late 2 hours? And I'm like, no. Sorry. I gotta go. Like, why'd you wait till the last minute? You understand that as time goes on, people formulate more and more plans, right? I don't want to get into that, but anyway, it just didn't make sense to me, like, why people do that, because those bosses have known for like the past 4 hours that the work that we were doing was not going to get done right on time. And instead of asking me when they realized that, they waited literally until the last 5 minutes of the shift and asked if I could stay an extra 2 hours right when I was expecting to be off. Like, I'm able to, do good work because I know exactly how long I need to sustain that. And I have to do things, right, in order to stay at work and do a really good job for the time that I'm expected to do that job. ADHD people don't like estimations. So it just makes me so frustrated, and this is why I just have learned to say no. Sorry, I have learned to say no. You should ask sooner. The further in time, like the earlier you request that I put in hours that aren't part of the schedule, the better chance you have of it being a yes. And it just baffles me that I have to explain that. And then like the same guy who approaches me at 4:55 when I expect to get off at 5 gets angry when I say no. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, you don't understand how time works, I guess. And if, somebody understands, like, what this logic is like, I don't know. Why do people wait till the last minute on things like that? Because I'm not entirely sure that it's procrastination. I don't know. Now I have to figure out how to get back to this mini fridge story and why I diverted in the first place. I'm a fucking ditz and I have no brain. It's really bad. Wish I could, but I don't have one. So I thought I could, get this mini fridge problem in order, and I couldn't. But the first way that I tried to make it happen was, I said, okay, first thing we're gonna do, we need to pee. That needs to be handled first. So we're gonna go in the bathroom and pee. And then when we get back, we're just gonna move this table out of the corner. And I repeated it. I was like, we're just gonna go to the bathroom and come right back. And then we're gonna move the table. So, I did get to the bathroom and I did pee. But I'm not sure what I did right after that. I know I came back to the room, but I for sure did not move the table out of the corner. And this is a period of about 1 minute. Right? That's what it's like to be me right now. There's just so many things. Again, some of it's the ADHD and a lot, and some of it is, me trying to change my schedule in order to, make the ADHD easier. And some of it is I have not been in this room for a long period of time. It's like been 3 or 4 months or something. So there are still things about this room that are not set in stone, that are not handled. A couple of those things are I wanted a mini fridge and I didn't have one. And I wanted a mini fridge because in my previous apartment I had a mini fridge. And because this fridge is in the downstairs kitchen, and that's like my room is not downstairs. It's upstairs. So if I want something out of the fridge, I have to walk for about a minute before I get something that I want out of the fridge. And that might be fine, but there's lots of other elements. 90% of the time I go into the kitchen, there's bugs in there. Sometimes when I go into the kitchen, there's like a spill on the floor that should have been cleaned up by who made the spill. Whoever cooked last and didn't clean up their mess. So there's a non-zero chance that I'll get my socks wet in a spill that I didn't notice. Also, the microwave is gross. Also, it's not my territory, and I don't feel safe to alter that territory. So it's organized in a way that's not how I understand organization. And I don't want to just organize, a shared area that's shared between myself and I think 4 or 5 other people. Because that's the sort of thing that creates tension and conflict. Like other people have, particularities like I do. Like they want things organized in a way that's easy for them. And sometimes that organization is, I like this a particular way, and it's that way now. And sometimes it's just that I like things organized in this way because this is the familiar way. Like, this is what the kitchen has been organized like for the past year. And we've gotten used to it. And that's fine, and that's why it's hard for me to stop myself from trying to reorganize things. Because when I look at a kitchen, I don't see the familiarity. I see disorganized kitchen, and could be objectively organized better. In certain instances, I know what I'm talking about. Like, I reorganized the shelves at work, and there was no doubt in my mind that I could improve them. And in my first week, I did that. Because when you know, you're working in some sort of manufacturing setting, the supplies that you use every day need to be the most accessible. So, if you have a long shelf, and your only way to approach that shelf puts you at the left side of the room, starting with, you know, a bunch of shelves on these back wall. And my work, the all of our supplies. I'm trying to be super vague here, because I don't want to like be specific about, you know, the job I work or the type of manufacturing, because I need some anonymity and privacy and blah blah blah. But anyway, so in a manufacturing setting, the supplies that you use the most need to be the most easily accessible. Like rare or supplies that you barely ever use. I mean, it sucks that something has to be on a bottom shelf where you have to like bend down or something to get, but something's got to be there, right? So you put the super rare stuff in those spots. And when I got to this job, I was like, oh, this is just organized wrong. So I'll fix it. Which, not gonna lie, created some tension. And back then I didn't grasp that, and I do now. But anyway, they had papers that they used every day. God damn it, I just said fucking papers. Anyway, they had stuff that they used every day that were in hard to reach places that took them like an extra 10 seconds to walk to. And they had rare stuff that was easy to get to. And that's objectively wrong, because that sort of stuff creates frustration, and it's not efficient. And like by reorganizing, like basically you can calculate how many steps a person takes to get to this paper, how many times they have to go there per day, and blah blah blah. Let's just say you're reorganizing the shelf saved employees 1 minute of like getting supplies per day. And that's important because even in an 8-hour shift, you saving 1 minute is good, because like you got to think about, you're saving like 1 minute per day every day in perpetuity. So you've handled this problem, and then for the rest of time, employees can do 8 hours of work in 7 hours and 59 seconds. And just like, it's compounding benefits. Like the longer it's in place, the more benefit you'll get from it. Hallelujah. I have completely lost what I was trying to talk about. Oh yeah, so I didn't want to reorganize the kitchen because I don't want to step on toes. And also, I haven't reorganized the kitchen before. So that's another one of the reasons why I don't want to be getting food out of the fridge. Another reason is I had told my landlady a couple times that I would probably get a mini fridge. I told her on the first tour of the house, and before I decided to say yes to living here. And then, like during the signing release process, I was like, I just reminded her, I was like, I'll probably get a mini fridge. And for those reasons, I felt safe enough to get one because I had carved out that like expectation for myself, so I didn't have to like ask permission to do it. I had done that already a couple times, made sure it was there. And I really want to learn how to cook really bad. Like I just keep on trying to create situations for myself where I can learn to cook, like a little bit at a time, and keep on having wrenches thrown into that. Like I had to move, new job, and other life events, and you don't do experimental stuff like during times of crisis. You do tried and true stuff. The stuff that you know works. So I keep defaulting back to the lazy food options like instant meals, and I'm not proud of any of that, but I do want to cook. I've tried like so many times to get myself there. And I already get that needs to be chopped up into little tasks. Yeah. So I already know that quote unquote learn to cook. If I think of it that way, it's not gonna work. I'm way ahead of you, man. I just want to do meal planning for like 1 hour a week. Like that's how I'm gonna start cooking. 1 hour per week. Because I already know that I like doing that, and I've done it before, and it works. But if I have to run into all these problems in this kitchen, that will never work. I'll talk myself out of cooking every time. Or I'll cook myself out of that 1 hour of meal planning per week. Because I don't want to deal with that insane cluster with a bunch of problems, with problems that I can't fix. On top of that, so anyway, that's why I want a mini fridge. And so I got one, and it wasn't that expensive. And it'll be well worth the cost. It's really not that expensive. This was like $120. Like, the way I see it is I'm paying $120 to be able to start learning to cook consistently. And just remove all of the elements that I'm not in control of by putting a mini fridge in my room and using it. Because I don't have to worry about if it gets filthy. If it gets filthy, it's my fault. I'll clean it. Not a problem. But if the communal fridge gets filthy and you find yourself not wanting to, use the fridge because it's filthy, like, this is not an easy problem to overcome. Because you can't just clean it when it gets filthy. Because that'll train the people that are making it filthy that they don't have to clean it. You'll clean it. And that would almost be acceptable if it would stop there. But, stuff like that. Mistakes compound. You don't want to train somebody that somebody else will fix their mess. As like tempting as it is to, just want to be like the helpful roommate, the one who cleans the fridge all the time, because that won't be the end of it. If it's just the fridge when you start, you're like thinking, okay, look, this house is basically perfect, and the only problem is the fridge gets dirty and somebody's making it dirty because they just won't clean it. and you just make it easy for everybody. I'll clean the fridge. But that won't solve the problem. That'll make the problem worse. Because whichever person is making the fridge just learn that their shitty habits don't have consequences. And now they're going to be, at the very least, messing up the fridge more and more. And now that I'm saying this, I'm not surprised that sometimes there's a puddle of water on the floor. I'm kind of enjoying the fact that I don't know who it is, so because again, I live with like 6 people. It's crazy. Like, that comedian's joke about like the housing situation, and I live with 9 roommates. I used to think that joke was funny, but I live with 6 roommates, and I thought it was funny when I lived with like 3 roommates, and it was less funny when I lived with 4 and then 5 roommates, and now I live with 6 roommates, and it just gets less funny every time because it was a joke before, and it's becoming more and more accurate. Like, I live with 9 roommates. Like that joke killed for that audience. I like that joke. Like, no offense to the comedian. Like, your timing was great. You chose the right number. But I'm sorry to say that joke has not been aging well due to things that are out of your control, my dude. So, but in my particular case, somebody is, making messes and not cleaning them up, and one of my other roommates is being nice and cleaning it up. And this dynamic is just going to make things like the kitchen more and more messy, which means kind of like thinking my lucky stars I decided to get the mini fridge without thinking too hard about it, because there's so much benefit to... Hold on. Oh, shit, I'm gonna die. Let's see if I can forestall that. We're gonna soulstone. Okay, now we're okay to die. Let's just die. There we go. Everybody go away. Leave me alone. I'm dead. You did your job. Psych! And so I told myself I was going to use the bathroom and then come right back and then move that table. And that didn't work. And I failed in similar ways for like the next 45 minutes. And one of those times, I just want to illustrate this because I remember it. I had this fridge in the box. So the fridge wasn't out of the box yet, and I was able to focus enough to be like, okay, even though I've been, trying to get my room in order in a way that makes sense for me, because things aren't in a permanent place. Like, I don't know where the scissors are, because I haven't picked a permanent spot for the scissors, so I just don't know where they are, so I have to find them. And that took, maybe not too bad. It was like a minute or 2 to find them. And then I got, the box open. And then there was some packing stuff on the top. And then, how long has it been? Okay, 34 minutes. There was some packing stuff on the top. I also had to remove the lid to get that and put the lid somewhere. And goddamn, I have to pee really bad. I'm sorry, guys. Super sorry. What's this? so let's pick up where we left off. I was dealing with this, mini fridge that I had just opened. And it was still in the box, but the top was off, and the stuff, like the packing stuff, had been removed. And I kind of had to circle that. Well, I had to kind of like pace around a little bit to figure out what needed to be done next, because you've got this like 3 foot tall, maybe even 3.5 foot tall mini fridge that's heavy, and you can't just pull it straight up out of the box. I can't because I'm short and I'm not like super strong, and it weighs 44 pounds, or something like that. Let me drink. So I only paced around it for 5 seconds. But I did note that it was kind of weird that I had to do that in order to get myself to the next step. I was like, how do I deal with this? And the solution was to just carefully lay it down on the side. And if you're, a normal person thinking that was obvious, it should be obvious to you because you work with heavy stuff that needs to come out of boxes. You should be starting to understand how so many tasks I can fail at if I don't have the right conditions. But anyway, that didn't take too long. I mean, it might even appear to be normal if I wasn't telling a story about it. If you were just somebody watching me deal with this fridge, and I walked around and I was like, let me think about how to deal with the weight and get it out of the box. Might have even been smart or seemed fast. Who knows? Maybe it's subjectively fast. I don't know. And then after that, I stepped away from the mini fridge because I had tipped it right back up. So it was out of the box now. All the other stuff was gone. Now it was just the mini fridge. I didn't have to remove anything else. I was basically ready to move into the position, and now I had to prepare that position. And so I had started clearing the stuff off of the table that I was going to have to move. And a thought occurred to me: what color's the mini fridge? Because I couldn't remember what color it was. Mind you, I just pulled it out of the box 10 seconds ago. I'm the one who picked it. I'm the one who ordered it. I paid for it. It has the color on the box. I couldn't remember if it was red or black. And I just couldn't remember. And I had to look at the box. Or I had to turn around and look. I was like, oh, it's black. But now I think I got confused because the box is very both red and black are dominant. And things like what color things aren't super important to me. Maybe I'll find that those play a big part in how I work, but for now I'm going with I'm not too picky about color because I just want to get the version of the thing that I want. And a lot of times I do like black because black is a really, really simple, easy default color. And stuff like that, both black and white, there's lots of, black and white versions of a phone or table or computer. I mean, because, black and white, if you have a color scheme, and black and white object thrown into that, basically, it'll be okay there. maybe not the best, but it like won't sabotage your whole color scheme if you're like picky about that in a room. Maybe that's why a lot of products get made that are black and white. I don't know. Or maybe, you know, people that buy products just hate colors. And they just like wish that that wasn't a choice. And that every product either came in black or white. Please don't think about how if you watch traffic on a road for like a few minutes and pay attention to what color the cars are. A lot of them are like black, white, and red. And silver. AKA gray. That someone is trying to make you feel more fancy about. If someone calls a car color silver, they're okay with manipulating you. That's gray. But it's shiny. You know? There's a reason why that one joke kills. Like that meme about blood orange. It's like some like series of screenshots from a show where some lady is like looking at some item and it's red. Or, yeah, it's red. And she's like, I really like this blood orange. And then some other guy is like, how are you this pretentious? That's red. And it's like freaking blood orange. That's nuts. Ugh. Anyway. But I couldn't remember. It just escaped me. I couldn't remember the color of the fridge I had. And I don't even know why it was important that I know what color it was. I was like, what color is my fridge? And I had to look at it. Oh, it's black. So I'm going to start wrapping up because I've been doing this for almost 2 hours. And I feel like I want to do more because there's a lot of stuff that that I've already worked out in my brain and I want to put into words. But I know that if I keep going forward and recording, something will go wrong. Like, it'll put me in a bad mood or something. Just do the thing. Take a break. Trust the process, Matt. Trust it. And there'll always be a next time. It's so hard for ADHD people to understand that. Because even though I don't think I've said that in these videos, but for people with ADHD, they have different concept of time. And I'm like kind of stalling here because the way to say it is super easy and simple, and I just feel bad that it's super easy and simple and short. But for ADHD people, there's now and there's not now, and that's it. And I don't know how much I can explore that. My goal, sorry, not goal, but the cutoff time for, ending this video is about 14 minutes from now. I mean, maybe the things that I feel should be, listed out perfectly one time and one time only. Maybe I should just abandon that and just go through the stuff, repeatedly, because, so, for ADHDers, their concept of time, I mean, it's not great, right? If you're struggling with a person who has ADHD, I mean, the more I learn about myself and about ADHD, the more I realize how difficult I am. Or, sorry, not how difficult I am for like other roommates, coworkers, whatever, but how difficult I have the potential to be because, truth be told, at least 50% of the time, probably even closer to like 90% of the time, I'm just an absolute joy to be around. I just love, because I'm in a good mood when I'm at work. Because that's the only way I can operate. I can't stay at a job if I'm miserable there. I will do everything I can, like, to make, I said this in one of the first videos, like, about how I don't hate my job because I made it into not work. So instead of going to work, I'm not going to work. I'm going to my other fun. Like, I have fun at home, and being at work is my other fun. Like, I just have that there so I don't get bored of one type of fun too much. And that's... I still feel that. Like, it still hits. Like, really hard. So you can look at it like ADHD people can't manage stress really well. And you can think of it like ADHD can't manage stress really well because they're so good at managing it ahead of time. So they I don't want to say they, or maybe we. Like, we're good at that. Like, we pick things apart, we split apart problems with our, black and white thinking hammer that we have, and the problems are the boulder, and we like to split things apart until we have, like, identified why we hate X, or Y, or why, this social interaction was uncomfortable for me, or why I felt good about, some song that I liked, or why some, scene in a movie, it just, like, makes you so emotional, We can't just let things be. We don't like mystery, estimations, like other people. Maybe you're fine with those things, but like, so much, we like to know when. Like, if somebody bought something from the store for me that I asked them to buy, and I want to pay them back, like, it's just a jug of milk. I'm just checking the time here. So I have like 10 minutes. I asked them to buy milk for me at the store. I'll pay you back. And they say it was $3. And I say, okay, let me get $3. And I'm like, I hand them money, and I'm like, wait, was it really, like, it was $3 even? And they're like, well, it was about $3. I don't care. And I'm like, yeah, but I want to pay you back. Like, I don't want to, partially pay you back. I said I would pay for it, and if anything, I should give you more money. You should round up, like, as a tip, because you just did a favor and brought me milk that I didn't have to go get. So I should pay the full price and just a little bit more for you doing the whole favor and make my life easier. But what we can't do is just tell me it costs $3 when that's not the case. And I'm like, the other person's like, yeah, but I don't care. Like, it's fine. It's just $3. And I'm like, but I care. And because we don't deal well with estimations. Like windows, like when you get to, let's say you have some kind of technician coming over to your house and they give you a window. And I'm going to put some extreme examples in here so that you regular people can feel what it's like for ADHD people. So let's say a technician tells me that they're going to come work on the thing, and our window is from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. During that time, sometime they'll come. But you just basically have to be available for those times, because And they say things like, most of the time they're there on the early part of that window, but we just have the window there, for some leeway so the technician doesn't have to like speed or whatever, stress out about if he's going to get there on time, and we don't want to stress you out and stuff like that. So they put this window, and you agree to it because 3 to 6 is really not that bad. For an ADHD person, that's bad. And there's been a lot of memes about how, like, if you start your day at like 10 a.m. and you have a doctor's appointment at 3, congratulations, you won't be able to do anything until you have gone to that doctor's appointment and come back. Or if somebody says, your doctor will call you, around 3, you just won't be able to do things. Because that hamstrings your ability to make plans. Because you don't know what to get into. All you know is that there's a good chance it'll be interrupted. So, let's say you play some online game, and it's a PvP game and the matches are 20 minutes. You can't play that game because you have a rating, and 20 minutes is too long of a time because in the middle of that, if the technician comes, you have to answer the door and stop playing. It's not online game. But why can't you just pause it? Yes, the joke has been made lots of times. I have. So now I'm going to try and illustrate what that feels like for a regular person. So now you're a regular person and you have organized for the technician to come over to your house. And instead of them, giving you a direct time, they're like, okay, well, we give you a window, and you're like, oh, okay, and that's pretty common. It's common practice. Like, I'm used to it. It's just the way that things are done. And then they ask, what's the window? And then they say, well, it's a 9-day window, starting on Tuesday at 11:13 p.m. and going to, 9 days later. I'm not going to try to do that math. And then that person who's normal and just hears that insane window is going to be like, that was a joke, right? And they're like, no. Well, it would take time to get into it, but I'm sorry. I'm not in control of it. I'm sorry for the hassle, but that's the window. And the normal person is like, are you seriously telling me that it's not any friendly, round, familiar number at all? It's not a 7-day window, it's a 9-day window. 7 days would be less bad. It's 11:13 to 11:13 9 days later. Not 11:15, not 11 p.m. And 11 p.m. is already insane because who the hell wants a technician to show up at 11 p.m.? And it just sounds ridiculous. And as a normal person, if you heard that window, it would be very out of place because they don't have windows like that. Now imagine that, every single time in your life you call a technician and, they give you a window, it's chaotic every time. And after 10 years, you just kind of accept it. Like, you don't like it, you're sad, and it's going to basically ruin your day. But you can't fight it. So you have these chaotic windows, and for some, political or, corporate structure reason, it just has to be this insane window. And you just sort of resign yourself that you're going to lose, you're going to be stressed out for a lot of that time until the technician shows up. That's what it's like for ADHD people when they get a regular window. If they would just say, the technician will be there at 3 p.m. They will be there at 3 p.m. If they are not at your house at 3 p.m., instead of the technician showing up, you will receive a call, from home base, giving you the new estimate. And we do apologize in that case. But we live in the real world. Things like traffic are a concern. Other clients, may need a bit more service, etc. So please just give us some leeway. We are committing to 3 p.m. and we will try our best to make that happen. And if that does not happen, we will handle, the stuff. And giving customers a window of service is wasting the customer's time. Because for that whole time, there's an element about the things you do that can't change. First of all, you have to be at home. You have to be dressed. You have to be presentable. The house has to be presentable. You can't be in the middle of something that shouldn't be interrupted. And when you really get down and dissect all the things that you need to make happen in order to make that window for a company that won't do it, you start to feel like, maybe you should be paid. If you have to sit there and just do the most easily interrupted, inconsequential shit, and just sit there and stare at the screen, or watch Netflix that can be paused at any time without consequences, and that's your only option for entertainment, that sucks. You should be paid for that. They need to change that kind of thing. And I need to wrap up. I got a few seconds left. Thanks for hanging in there. We will talk again, or at least I'll talk again. You get to decide if to listen. Goodbye.